Welcome to Her Anime Universe. I'm your host Carla, and if you love anime, manga, and the stories that inspire and entertain us, you're in the right place. Here we get into epic adventures, heartfelt romances, unforgettable characters, and even the lessons we can take from them. So whether you're here for nostalgia, new recommendations, or just a good time geeking out, join me, a longtime fangirl, as we explore the universe of all things anime, manga, and even the occasional K-drama. Remember to follow, like, and subscribe, and if you enjoy the show, leave a review. It helps more anime lovers find the podcast and keeps the conversations going. Welcome back to Her Anime Universe, where we dive into anime through a feminine lens and highlight the heart, the depth, and power in characters who might not always get the spotlight. I'm your host, Carla. Before we dive into today's episode, I have a few quick updates for you because I like to give you quick updates. The first one is the Crunchyroll Anime Awards voting has officially started and it ends on April 14th. So it looks like there are 20 categories, including some of these like Anime of the Year, Best Continuing Series, Best Main Character, Best Animation, Best Drama, Best Opening Sequence, and there's so many other categories, but these are just a few to name out. So if you haven't cast your vote yet, make sure to go vote. This is your sign to go support your favorites. It helps all the creators and to honestly get anime out there and for people to go read more mangas, to go read even manhwas now, right? And all the things. So also big news that I've been seeing like pop up here and there that apparently, and I hope this is true for real, that it's been announced that a new season of Hunter x Hunter is coming in 2026. It's been a while, yo. So it was time because I was a little annoyed. I think that's why I chose not to finish it yet. I have a few episodes to go. And now I'm like, all right, cool. Now I get to finish it. Solo Leveling is already getting a season 3, but it's gonna have to be a wait for a lot of you. Okay, so those of you who has finished, who are like, oh my god, when's the next season coming? You're gonna have to wait. So if you haven't, I would recommend reading the manhwa. I'm telling you, I read the whole thing and I'm so glad I did. It's so good. The manhwa is actually really good. And we already know what's coming. So, but for you anime only fans, get ready because it's going to be worth the hype. And I hope they continue to make the character developments and the graphics and everything. And maybe more balance, right? Between when there's no action to when there is action. Because I think that is really important. There's a lot of action for sure. A lot of ass kicking and stuff. But if you find the balance, I think it continues to make this anime so good. So, let's talk about what Carla has been watching lately, yeah? Let me give you the rundown because I've been catching up on a lot of things, all right? Right now, I'm actually currently watching Jujutsu Kaisen. Finally. Oh my god, I'm excited about it. I finally get the hype behind Gojo and all the characters so far. And one thing that I find interesting about him is that he looks a lot like Kakashi Sensei, but not. And then when he takes off his blindfold, I'm like, why did they make his eyes so beautiful? Like, there's something about that. I'm sure I'll find some information out about it. Or if you know why they made him like that, I'll learn more. I'm telling you, I'm still early in the seasons. So yeah, I just finished Blue Lock, the second season, and it was so good. It was such a good sports like competition anime. Apparently there's going to be a new season next year, so I'm excited for it. And there was an in-between movie as well. And so far, like all the character developments, the competitions that they have, I'm going to have to do an episode, I think, about it because it was actually really good. I was surprised. I wasn't sure what to expect, but maybe that's why. And I'm finally up to date on the Apothecary Diaries. And because I'm up to date, I'm watching the subbed version, which honestly, it's so good. I love subbed versions. There's a lot more, like, there's this feeling behind it too. I don't know, but I always like the Japanese with subversions. Unless I learn Japanese, maybe feel different. And I finally finished both season 1 and season 2, of course, of Solo Leveling. So, with that being said, still a huge fan of Fruits Basket. Hunter x Hunter, yeah, I like it a lot. It's not my favorite, but it's one of those that I go to. Naruto, it's one of my favorites. Some people say it's not. I've been watching videos that people are like, I don't know, people diss it, but not me. And one that I really like right now so far is Spy Family as well. So when it comes to those like deep family and character driven arcs, okay, I really like all of those things. So those are the updates for now. That's what Carla's been watching. Let me know what you recommend me watching or reading as well. Oh, I did start watching Don to Don as not watching it, reading it. I wanted to read it first before I actually get into the actual show, but I did hear that it's gonna be it's one of the you can vote for it in the anime award of the year, so maybe I should watch it. Okay, back to today's episode. Today's episode is about focusing on two characters who embody the intelligence, the soft power and intelligence in anime, right? And two of these characters that I think are amazing at it are Tohru Honda from Fruits Basket and Maomao from the Apothecary Diaries, all right? So let me start with Tohru. So Tohru, like I said, is basically the heart of Fruits Basket, a show that blends supernatural elements with deep emotional healing. If you've never seen it, or at least for me, it's been a while, let me give you a quick refresher. The story centers around Tohru, a high school girl who ends up living alone in a tent in the woods after her mom passed away. She was probably like super young. And honestly, that part is so sad to me. Like who does that? Who lives alone? Right? She just has this frame of her mom. No one is checking in on her. There's no safety net. She's like in this forest, yo. Just her trying to make it on her own. Still going to school, still smiling, still being positive. Okay. Who does that? And she eventually in that forest, she gets discovered by the Soma family, Yuki, Kiyo, Shigure, who take her in. But they're not your average family. They're cursed to transform into animals of the Chinese zodiac when hugged by the opposite sex. Sounds lighthearted, but the curse runs deep, okay? It's tied to shame, it's tied to trauma, and years of emotional isolation. Tohru doesn't show up trying to fix them or force her way in. She is just kind. She is understanding. She's emotionally present. And that alone becomes like a huge game changer in that family. Her quiet empathy creates a space where the somas can begin to heal. Yuki starts to open up. Kiyo begins to forgive himself. Even Shigure, right, who's always playing mind games, respects her grounding presence. So what I love about watching Toru's own growth is that she starts off trying to please everyone, being that people pleasing, bearing her grief. But slowly, so slowly, she learns to make space for herself too, because she becomes more aware, more self-aware, right? More grounded and even more powerful because of it. Tohru teaches us that intelligence doesn't have to be logical or loud. It can be deeply emotional, relationship-wise, and rooted in how we treat people. It's what we nowadays call emotional intelligence, yeah? She is proof that compassion is not a weakness. It's a kind of force that shifts dynamics. It softens hearts. It can break cycles, yo. She holds that space, and that space becomes so sacred for those around her. And when you learn emotional intelligence, when you learn how can I be compassionate but at the same time take care of myself, how can I listen to these people and help them ground themselves, learn more about themselves, learn awareness, that's what you call emotional intelligence. So I would ask you, how is your emotional intelligence, your mindset intelligence, and how can you check in with yourself right now where you say, how am I feeling right now at this very moment? So just think about that for a second. So now I want to talk about basically on the other end of the spectrum, okay? Where it's not so much emotional intelligence, okay? Now we have Maomao from the Apothecary Diaries. And let me tell you, I've been loving this show. And this is a different kind of powerhouse, right? The series is set in this ancient imperial China, and this show follows Maomao. She is a young woman born and raised in the what they call red light district. Her adopted father is someone who was an imperial doctor who was exiled or fired basically, and then he started to raise her with a goal At least that's what I think as a parent, to survive, especially in that time. But not just to survive, to outthink everyone around her, to be wise, right? From the very beginning, Mao is, at least from what we see, she's sharp, she's observant, she's actually opposite to Tohru, she's emotionally guarded. And honestly, she kind of irritated me a little bit. Maybe it irked me a little bit at first about that. She felt so emotionally detached, almost robotic. And I think that's because I'm a more empathetic person. And I wanted her to show emotion. Like, hey, this person is showing you care. This person wants to hug you, right? But the more you watch, the more you realize that that is a veil. That's a protection for her, right? That emotional distance, that is survival. It's one of the recent, especially in one of the recent episodes, Maomao admits she never really tried to understand people's emotions because feelings, I mean, they were a luxury she couldn't afford growing up. Like, if you think about it, when she was in that cave, and I'm going to give away a little bit about this episode, when she was in this cave with Jinshi, right, that's when she started to realize, hey, what is this? What is he trying to tell me? And then when they're talking later in the room, she genuinely tells him the way she feels and how she feels grateful, right, for him and the situation. But it's not up until then that you start to realize, oh, this was protection. That was a luxury that she didn't want to, couldn't have. She remembers that, she was in this house with these, I don't know if they're concubines or what they were, but these women, right, where they get paid to do their services. Let's just put it that way. And she says that they never really gave her empathy. They never babied her, even when she was crying. And so she learned to self-soothe. And then she learned that that wasn't something that was going to be acknowledged, right? Her world didn't reward softness. It rewarded knowledge, calculation, logic, okay? And mostly for men, right? But she was a woman that her father was teaching. And that reveal reframed everything for me. She's not necessarily what you would say cold. She's just been taught more, it's more a self-taught thing to protect herself by not feeling too much or by maybe ignoring that. But despite that emotional armor, Maomao is actually deeply caring. She's always observing. She's always helping, from curing these strange illnesses to solving mysteries in that inner core, right? She's made herself indispensable without even realizing it. And what's powerful about her is that she's so good at what she does, people cannot ignore her. Even when they don't fully understand her, they need her. And that can be intimidating because when a woman steps outside of what society expects, especially in this historical or traditional setting, people don't always know what to do with that. And Maomao doesn't flirt. She doesn't play the role. She just is her. And that is powerful. And if you think about it, when you're doing something that society doesn't understand, it's like, that's a little bit scary, right? And then there's Jinshi here, the high-ranking eunuch who's, so intrigued by her. And he's not necessarily a eunuch, okay? He's used to being admired, obeyed. He's this beautiful being, basically. But Maomao, she couldn't care less. That indifference is what pulls him in. She doesn't flatter him. She challenges him. And he can't help but be drawn to that authenticity. She's not trying to impress anyone. She's not trying to win his love over. She's just being herself. And that's rare in a place where everyone else is playing a part, where everyone is so drawn to him. And he's just done with that, right? And she's doing the total opposite. And he's like, whoa, what is this? Who is this? What is this person? Oh, this girl can read? Let me test her out. And that's how he discovered her, right? So Maomao's story is about more than solving those palace plots. It's about unlearning emotional detachment, finding her worth, and realizing that being different is not just okay. It's actually key. It's essential. Her journey is that quiet revolution of doing something different. So I'm going to ask you, what are you doing different for yourself that maybe is a revolution for you? Maybe it's a revelation on your growth, on your, what would I call it? Authenticity. How can you be authentic to yourself? Yeah. So let me just say this. This is not going to be a long episode. Tohru and Maomao couldn't be more different in how they carry themselves. One leads with empathy, the other with logic, right? One creates safety through softness, the other through observation, sharp observation. And yet, both of these girls, both of these young girls, women, they both show us that intelligence is multifaceted. And when they are wielded by women who know themselves, it becomes transformative. For us as women watching these stories, there's something deeper, right, that you can really think about. There was a time, not even that long ago, when women were only valued for their physical roles, but not their insight. But anime like this reminds us that emotional intelligence is intelligence, that soft power is definitely power, and that being misunderstood at first does not mean you're wrong. It just might mean that you're ahead of the time, ahead of your time. Maybe you're just doing things differently. You're not doing the shoulds anymore like most people are. You're not doing that robotic lifestyle. So whether you're more like Tohru or Maomao, or maybe you're a little bit of both, right? Your voice, your insight, your presence, it does matter. You don't have to be loud to be unforgettable. And that's something so important. So remember, be your authentic you. So thanks for listening to this episode up to this now of Her Anime Universe. I am Carla Rodriguez, and if you loved this one, share it with someone who may love anime or who wants to get into it. Someone who needs a reminder that soft doesn't mean small. So I'll catch you on the next episode. Till next time. That's it for today's episode of Her Anime Universe. Thanks for hanging out with me and geeking out over all things anime and manga. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow, subscribe, and leave a review. It really helps this podcast grow. Let's keep the conversation going over on Instagram at Her Anime Universe or even on my other page at Coach Carlita. Until next time, stay bold, stay curious, and keep being unapologetically you.